checking the forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
I think we should get this show on the road. What do you guys think, guys? Should we get this thing done? I think we shall. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Welcome to our program, everybody. It's going to be a fun night tonight. Fun day, I should say. We're not going to go into the night, hopefully. I don't want to do that today. However, we have a lot to cover. We want to get into it right now. Okay, first off, we got through the storm. Presently, we have very high clouds here in Morganton, North Carolina, but guess what? It's cold. It is bitter cold here, okay? Earlier, it was 7 degrees in the morning, early this morning. Now, it's approximately 28 degrees, still below freezing. 28 degrees Fahrenheit, still below freezing. We've had a lot of issues across the United States from southeastern New Mexico, northern and northwestern Texas, going over through the entire central part of the United States, from Texas to North Dakota and South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, all the way east to Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, and over into Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, down into Missouri, going down into Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, all the way down into Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, all the way over in northern Florida, going up into Georgia, all the way up into Maine. The entire east coast of the United States got hit with a storm. The entire east coast got hit with a storm. A tree just fell down just outside another building over here near where I live. I just heard it crackling, and then I saw it hit the ground. Incredible. Ice and snow has been pummeling this area. We've had another ice storm last night. I reported to you yesterday on our program we had 1 inch of ice and snow on the ground. Today we have over 2 inches of ice and snow on the ground here in Morganton, North Carolina. The highways have been treacherous. The highways and streets are going to remain treacherous as we have ice melt down on the roads, the ice salt slurries on the road. And once the slurry melts the ice, it's going to refreeze tonight. It's going to be hectic. Again, I'm going to ask everybody. I'm asking everybody right now, stay off the roads if at all possible. If you don't have to go out, don't. Stay home. Work from home if you have to. Morganton has issued a snow day. The schools and city here in the county of Burke County, North Carolina, have been closed. They're going to remain closed through at least tomorrow. Tomorrow they will make the decision whether they stay closed for any more length of time. But right now they're closed through at least tomorrow. Okay, that's here in Morganton. This is the case throughout North Carolina and all throughout South Carolina, going up into Virginia, West Virginia, up into Washington, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Rhode Island, going up into Massachusetts, the whole thing. Everybody's going to have the same thing going on. Okay, now I'm going to report about what's happened here. I feel the obligation to tell you what has happened. Number one, ice, heavy duty ice. Look at this. Look at this. Ice on the street, on the trees like this. Ice is accumulated on the trees anywhere from a ½ inch to 1 inch of ice on the trees. Look at this. Ice on the roadways as well. Okay, look at all that ice. Ice on the trees is also contributed to power line breakage. Power line breakage. See these drooping power lines? This isn't anything yet. Wait till I show you what I have to show you. Yes, you see about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of ice on the power lines. Incredible. But that's not all, folks. There's more. There's a lot more where this came from. Okay, it's pretty bad. Actually, it's not pretty bad. It's very bad. Okay. Now, let me take this a bit further. Okay. Power lines. Look at this. There is so much ice here on the power lines in Mississippi, the power lines are drooping. Okay. When this happens, there's usually about 100 pounds of ice on the power lines. This causes power lines to snap as well. Look at this. About 6 to 8 inches of ice on the power lines, causing these power lines almost droop down to the ground. Look at this. Power lines here have actually drooped down to the ground and caused the power poles to sag, power poles to bend and break. Unreal. Uncut and pick and reel. That's not all, folks. There's more. Let's go over to Oxford, Mississippi. Look at this. Trees falling down on top of homes. Trees falling down and damaging automobiles and trucks. Incredible. It's a mess in Oxford, Mississippi. Complete mess in Oxford, Mississippi. It's ongoing right now. It's ongoing right now. Okay, let's leave that there. Okay. Yes, the ice and snow is still going to be a thing here for quite some time. Okay. But that's not all, folks. I've got more. Okay. First off, you saw what has happened in Minnesota this past week. Okay. ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, has been on the ground and has multiplied the number of ICE agents in Minnesota. Over 5,000 ICE agents and Border Patrol agents, and also DEA drug enforcement, and also the special weapons and tactics from the government, meaning narcotics enforcement. They've also got special weapons and explosives. I can't remember the antonym for that. But those people are also on the ground in Minnesota. They're helping each other. Okay, they are making arrests of Somali, mostly immigrants that came across the border illegally during the past 4 years, prior to the Trump administration taking over. These people have committed fraud. They committed murders. They committed rapes. But Minnesota Governor Walz, and as I spoke last week about Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, have okayed it for the protesters to go out and harass, intimidate, push, assault police agents, federal agents. The governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis have told them, oh, please remain peaceful. But they have not told them to not push, assault, and harass federal agents. They continue to do so. Okay? Let me tell you about this. Yesterday, breaking news. A Minnesota judge declined Governor Tim Walz's effort to block ICE operations in Minnesota. This is a huge win. Governor Walz tried to go to court, take the Trump administration to court, and tell the Trump administration to back off out of Minnesota. That didn't work. The federal judge agreed that the ICE agents were there for a reason. They're staying, at least for right now. There are still ongoing issues in Minnesota. Today, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called the president. Let me tell you what he said. Okay, let me show you this.
The White House says the president and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz had a good call today, both sides laying out what they want to see from the other. And the high-stakes call comes after federal officers shot and killed 2 U.S. citizens since the beginning of Operation Metro Surge earlier this month. Scripps News White House correspondent Haley Bull joins us now live. And Haley, what can you tell us about that call between the governor and the president? And what are some of the signals that you're picking up about how those two sides are going to work together moving forward?
Yeah, Andrew, that really is a big question. What we know is President Trump and Governor Walz speaking by phone today as the White House says the administration is reviewing everything following Saturday's shooting of Alex Preddy, but doubling down on blaming Democrats. Now, the president said Walz called to request to work together and that the two were on a, quote, similar wavelength, which marks a significant shift in tone from the repeated criticisms towards Walz we have heard from the administration. The president said he told the governor they were looking for, quote, any and all criminals that they have in their possession. The White House said he called specifically for the state to turn over arrested and incarcerated criminal undocumented migrants and for state and local officials to work with federal officials in order for Customs and Border Patrol to not be needed to support ICE. Now, notably, the governor's office also underscoring and suggesting that state and local officials already do notify federal authorities. The White House, this is significant coming after the killing of Alex Preddy over the weekend, after top officials, including Secretary Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller, linked Preddy specifically to domestic terrorism. Noem specifically alleging that he wanted to inflict maximum damage, she said, without providing specific evidence publicly. The White House today's tone appeared to contrast that. The White House repeatedly stating that the president wants to let the investigation play out, while at the same time, again, doubling down on criticizing Democratic leaders for, in their view, encouraging what they call agitators. Now, the administration noted that DHS and FBI are investigating, with CBP conducting internal reviews. The White House also noting that in the call between the president and the governor, that the president said he would have a discussion about an independent state investigation, but not committing to it. We pressed the White House press secretary on those investigations. Listen.
I want to go back to some of the comments from Stephen Miller and Secretary Note. You've made clear the president wants to see the investigation play out when answering some of the questions on the specific details. Is he concerned that some of those definitive statements made by other officials risks public perception of the credibility of those investigations now playing out?
Again, the president believes that these investigations are credible, they are continuing, they are active, and he wants to let them play out.
And Andrew, in the backdrop of all of this, the president also tapping border czar Tom Homan to go to the ground in Minnesota as well, as we are seeing these developments continue.
Okay. This is going to continue in Minnesota for the time being. Okay. It's going to continue. Now, as I have said last week, okay, yes, we've seen 2 shootings by ICE of individuals that have interfered with federal officers. I showed pictures last night. I showed pictures on Saturday. I showed pictures last Friday of these people interfering with federal officers. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has said that it was okay. It was okay. It's not. Okay? Minnesota Governor Tim Walz also said the federal agents were not properly trained. They were not properly trained. They were properly trained. Okay? I went through a federal police academy myself. I was a United States federal police officer. I was not working for ICE. I didn't work for Customs Border Patrol or Customs Enforcement. However, I was a federal police officer in San Diego and also in Denver. Okay, I was properly trained, as all federal officers are. All federal officers are properly trained policemen. They're properly trained policemen. They receive the basic training that any municipal or city, county, or state officer gets, but they also get federal training in regards to federal laws. Okay, I want to make sure everybody understands that. These people are properly trained, irregardless what Tim Walz has said in the past, or Mayor Frey has said in the past. Those 2 people themselves ought to be slapped upside the head. Now, I'm not calling for violence at all, but they ought to have their mouths shut. They're inciting people to riot. They're inciting people to commit violence. They're doing that. Now, the man that you saw in that video, Mr. Pretty, Alex Pretty, okay, I actually saw pictures, and I do have pictures on my device showing that he was armed. He was armed. He interfered with an arrest that CBP, or not CBP, I'm sorry, the Customs Border agents were making, interfered with that, then he drew his gun. Guys. That's what makes what he did illegal. That's why, allegedly, that he got shot. And yes, I'm sorry that he passed away. I'm very sorry that he passed away. But when you play games, you win stupid prizes. When you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Okay? Right here in this picture here, with his right hand. You see him going into his right rear part of his pants to go after his gun. He's going after his gun right there. Notice here, he has his gun drawn here. You guys see that? He has his gun drawn here. It's specific. It's specific, guys. Look at this. This is when he started raising his gun right here. This is where he started raising his gun right here. Okay? I have been deeply criticized saying, no, he was not armed. No, he did not go for a gun. No, he did not fire on federal officers. No, I have not seen any video or anything showing that he fired on federal officers. I did not see that. But I did see, and I showed you here, that he had a gun, he drew the gun, and he started lifting it up towards federal officers, and that's when he got shot. Okay? All police officers, doesn't matter whether you're city, sheriffs, state, federal officers, you have an obligation and a right to defend yourselves. They have an obligation and a right to defend themselves. Okay? In this case, this guy had already interfered with federal officers. He tried pulling agents off of the person they were trying to arrest. Then he backed off. You saw him going for his gun. You saw him drawing his gun. You saw him lifting that gun up. Okay? Officers felt their lives were in danger. As I quoted before from the law, every state, city, county, federal agent has a right to defend themselves. They have the right to use that force which is reasonable and necessary to stop the assault. That's law, verbatim. They have the obligation, they have the right to use that force which is reasonable and necessary to stop the assault. And I believe that's what they did. I believe that's exactly what they did. But I also believe that Governor Walz of Minnesota and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey told these agitators, told these protesters to go out there and create violence. Even though they said, oh, they're only being peaceful protests. But they were encouraging violence. They were encouraging these protests to go on. When you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I truly believe. Now, as president, you heard the press secretary tell the news media that now President Trump wants the whole thing to play out. He wants the investigation to go forward. And I agree, the investigation should go forward. The investigation should go forward, guys. And if law enforcement made a mistake, then I believe they need to pay the price. The price was already paid for the agitators. And the death of Renee Good and the death of Mr. Alex Pretty. Okay? I don't think that anybody deserves to die, but if you bring a gun to a protest, yes, he allegedly had a concealed weapons permit to be able to protect himself. Maybe he thought if he went to that protest, his life might be in danger. But if he was over there right next to federal agents, why did he draw his gun? That's where the line gets bad. Why did he draw his gun? His life wasn't in danger right next to federal agents. They weren't going to do anything to him. But when you do stupid things, you pay stupid prices. That's where this all goes. I'm going to stand by that. I'm going to let this investigation go forward. Okay? Before I get talking about what's going to happen this week, storm-wise and ice and snow-wise, I want to get in and talk about earthquakes. We've had quite a few earthquakes to happen during the past 24 hours and even this weekend. No, we did not get into the earthquakes and stuff this weekend at all, but we're going to do it right now. I want everybody to know what's happening. I want everybody to realize what's going on. Everybody has the right to know what's happening. I truly believe that. I'm going to take down our EMA banner. I'm going to take down our webcam here as well for at least a few minutes here. Let's go and take a look at these earthquakes here. As you can see, we've had quite a few earthquakes. First off, all earthquakes around the world originate from down here in the South Pacific. They generate from down here in the South Pacific. Originate, I should say, not generate, but originate from the South Pacific there. Also down here in the South Pacific here, near this same location, there's a huge magma plume. A huge magma plume rising from the center of the earth, going to all the volcanoes around the world. Okay? All earthquakes originate from the same area. Over here in the South Pacific, note, USGS is not saying anything about New Zealand. There are 38 earthquakes here in New Zealand. 38 earthquakes here in New Zealand, and USGS is saying nothing about it. New Zealand has seen 4.5, 4.7, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, 3.0, 3.5, 3.6, 3.7 earthquakes. Minor, small, and moderate earthquakes have hit New Zealand in the past 24 hours. Down here in the Kermadec Islands, just north of New Zealand, I want to show these earthquakes here. This is a large 5.2 earthquake. 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep here. 5.2 large earthquake. This is a 5.4. This is a 5.4, also 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. This 5.4 came in first as a 5.7 earthquake. This 5.4 originated as a 5.7 large earthquake. It was downgraded from 5.7, okay, in the Kermadec Islands. Now, for a while early this morning, I honestly believe that what happened in 2019 here in the Kermadec Islands was possibly going to happen. When I heard that 5.7 come out, I'm going, holy crap. Because this is what happened in 2019 when all of a sudden we had 6.2, 6.5, 6.7, and 7.2 earthquakes hitting all over the Kermadec Islands here. All over the Kermadec Islands, north of New Zealand. That's what happened in 2019. The very strong, the major earthquakes that hit here continue for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. At that point in time, no major earthquakes occurred down here in New Zealand at all. So far, we have not seen a major earthquake hit in New Zealand. Not at all. However, we've seen 2 or 3, yes, I think it was 3 large earthquakes hit here in New Zealand in the past 3 years. Just so you know, over here on the east side of the North Island, the east side of the North Island of New Zealand, they are expecting an 8.0 Cascadia type event. They are expecting an 8.0 megathrust earthquake to occur right here off the coast of the North Island sometime within the next 25 years. It could happen any time. It could happen any time or any place. I'm just saying it. Again, USGS is not showing any earthquakes here today at all. which is a fallacy. Like I said, there are 28 earthquakes here in New Zealand. That's incredible. USGS still's not talking about it. They're not going to. Going up here in the South Pacific here, let's look at these earthquakes. This is a 5.4 large earthquake here, 46 miles south of Oahu, Tonga. South of Oahu, Tonga here. 46 miles south of Oahu, Tonga here. Large 5.4 earthquake, 6.7 miles deep. Okay, just over 10 kilometers deep here. 5.4. This is a 5.2 large earthquake here. 21 miles deep. 21 miles deep, approximately 48 kilometers deep. 5.2 earthquake here. This earthquake was a 5.1. 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep here. 31 miles northeast of Oahu, Tonga. Northeast of Oahu, Tonga. This one is 41 miles, they say south-southeast, it was north-northeast of Oahu, Tonga. Again, USGS cannot get their act straight. They can't get their direction straight at all. Okay? Earthquakes here in Tonga here. They continue to happen. I fully expect to see more earthquakes here in the near future within the next day or so. Okay? They're not showing any earthquakes here in Fiji at all. What a joke. What a joke this is. Not showing anything. We had a bunch of earthquakes here this past week. I believe we're still going to see more earthquakes here within a very short time period. Okay, now let's go further south here. Just southwest of New Zealand and directly south of southeastern Australia. Down here, okay? Down here west of Macquarie Island. Macquarie Island is part of New Zealand and part of Australia. Macquarie Island here is a place where they have military outposts here. They have scientific outposts here, mostly monitoring the weather, monitoring the oceans, and monitoring the birds down here in the South Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean here. Down here, this is a 5.0 earthquake here. This is a 5.7. This is a 5.7 earthquake, 4.7 miles deep. 5.7, 4.7 miles deep. Unreal. Unreal. I believe it was the first part of last year we had earthquakes down here near Macquarie Island, and I showed you pictures of Macquarie Island and the outposts there, run by New Zealand and Australia together. Let's go over here into Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea here, guys. Look what's happened here. Okay? Right here. This is a 5.6 earthquake here in the southern mountains of Papua New Guinea. Southern mountains of Papua New Guinea. This is a 5.6 very large earthquake. This is a new earthquake. See this red dot? This red dot means this is a brand new earthquake that hit within the last half hour, 40 minutes. This is a 4.6 moderate aftershock. 4.6 moderate aftershock here. Also 6.2 miles deep. The people here in the towns and frontier areas here of Papua New Guinea, they don't have much money. Their homes are made of wood or cardboard. When earthquakes of this magnitude hit, their lives and livelihoods are destroyed. Their homes are not earthquake proof. Not earthquake proof at all. When they get hit bad. We have not gotten any damage reports, or I don't think we will, but we might. We might. These poor people got hit bad. They got hit bad today. Now, USPS is not showing any other earthquakes, which is a fallacy, a complete fallacy. Over here in Papua, Indonesia, northern Papua, Indonesia here, we have earthquakes, okay? Onshore Papua, Indonesia. This is a small, let me put up our webcam here so you can see what I'm talking about. This is a small 3.3 earthquake here. Offshore, just northeast of there. This is a 2.5 minor earthquake there. West of there, also on land. This is a 2.7 minor earthquake there. On the western side of Papua, Indonesia, this is a 2.6 earthquake here. Going further west, this is a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake there. This is where it divides here. Okay? Now, let's go over here to east of Java here. Timor-Leste, Indonesia. Here you see a 5.1 earthquake here. 5.1 earthquake near Maluku, Indonesia. Out here in the ocean. Out here in the ocean. Now this is not that far from any island here. Any island may have not felt the full brunt of the 5.1 earthquake, but they probably did feel some shaking here. They probably did feel some shaking here. But again, these are not the only earthquakes here. To the northeast, there's a 4.0 moderate earthquake there. Literally right next to the large earthquake. 4.0 earthquake there. Going further north, in the Banda Sea, we have a 3.4. Just southeast of there is a 3.7. As you can see, there are all kinds of earthquakes here. All kinds of earthquakes here in northern and central Indonesia. 3.2 to 4.7 earthquakes here. 3.2 to 4.7 earthquakes here. Okay? Let's go over to Java, Indonesia itself. 3 earthquakes in this location starting in the northern part of eastern Java. This is a 3.1 earthquake here. 3.1. Just south of there, is a 2.7. South of that one, I'm talking literally south of that one, is a 4.72. Moderate 4.72 earthquake. Eastern Java, Indonesia. Right there. Notice that USGS is not saying a word about it. Not anything. Not anything. Look at all the earthquakes here. Tell me why they're not showing all these earthquakes. Why are they not showing all these earthquakes? Yes, we have some 2-pointers, 2.0, 2.9. We have some 3.0, 3.9 as well. We also have 4.0 to 4.9. 4.0, 4.9 large earthquakes. Why are they not showing these? Why are they not showing these, guys? Central Indonesia. Central Indonesia. See this Surabaya, or Surabaya, I should say? Down on the southern coast down here, on the southern part of Java. 2.5. South there in the ocean, a 2.6. South there also on the same fault line, 2.7. 2.5, 2.6, and 2.7 going south. Earthquakes. Further to the southeast, here's a 3.5 small earthquake on the southern Indonesia fault line. The edge of the plate. This is the edge of the plate. Okay, 7 different tectonic plates are in play here. 7 different tectonic plates are in place here. What's going on? Let's go over to Eastern Java or Western Java. West Java, Indonesia here is a 2.8. 2.8 earthquake. Over here on the southwestern side is a 2.6. And over here on the USGS map, guess what we have? A 4.5 moderate earthquake here. 4.5 moderate earthquake here. But that's not all, folks, there's more. Again, the USGS is not showing anything at all. Nothing over here on Sumatra. South Sumatra, here's a 2.9, 3.0. Central Sumatra, 2.5 minor earthquake. Right next to it to the west is a 3.4 small quake. Out in the ocean to the north, 3.0 small quake there. Well, let's go north in the ocean as well. We're talking about the Indian Ocean here. This is a 2.5 earthquake here. Then on the land portion of Sumatra, Sumatra is the northwestern part of Indonesia here. We have 2 more earthquakes here. 2.8 minor earthquake, and right next to it, a 2.6. 46 earthquakes here in Indonesia. 46 earthquakes here in Indonesia, and USGS is not showing but what? What are they showing? What are they showing, guys? 4 earthquakes. 4 earthquakes here. What's going on with that? They're showing 4 earthquakes. A lot of earthquakes have hit here. Quite a few earthquakes have hit here. Let's go over here in the Philippines. The Philippines have gotten hit, guys. East of Sarangani Island. This is a 3.3 earthquake here. Further north, also on the eastern Philippine plate, Philippine earthquake fault. 3.8 earthquake here. Interesting. Jose Abad Santos. 20 miles east is Jose Abad Santos, near the southern tip of Mindanao, Philippines. 3.2 earthquake. 3.2 earthquake here. Then we go over to the western side, south part of Mindanao, Philippines, off the coast. USGS is showing 1 earthquake. They're showing a 4.4 earthquake. There are actually 8 earthquakes right here. 8 earthquakes right here. Why are they not showing them? Let me show what they are here so you can see it. This is a small 3.6. Northeast of there, this Morro Gulf, Philippines. This is a 4.2. 4.2. Let's go north. We have 6 more earthquakes to look at. This is a 3.1. North there is a 3.0. Further out here to the west, here's the 3.3. Then let's go north. Here's a 3.6. Here's a 3.0. Here's a 3.2. USGS shows 1 earthquake. The 4.3, 4.4 earthquake. There are 8 earthquakes here. There are 8 earthquakes here. Why are they not showing all 8 earthquakes? Okay, nobody got hurt. None of these earthquakes are large earthquakes. None of them are major earthquakes. None of them are very super strong earthquakes. These are moderate earthquakes off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines. When this happens, we usually see large earthquakes here. We usually see large earthquakes here, and I believe they're coming. Those large earthquakes are coming. Okay? But again, why is USGS not talking about it? Why? They show 1 earthquake here where there are 10 earthquakes. 10 earthquakes here in southern Philippines. That's pretty sad. That's very sad. Let's go over here to Taiwan. They are showing 1 earthquake here off of the southern part of Taiwan. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. A 4.5 moderate earthquake here. Okay. Over here in China, Dianga, China, a large 5.5 earthquake. A very large 5.5 earthquake hit here in Dianga, China. We go over here to the west. Now we're in Afghanistan. We have a 4.3 moderate earthquake here. Go south here, Pakistan, another 4.1 earthquake. 4.1 earthquake here. We go down here in the area here. This is the Carlsberg Ridge in the Indian Ocean. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. Large 5.0 earthquake here. Okay? Now, I told you about 2 earthquakes hit here. Afghanistan and Pakistan. Guess what? There are actually 4 earthquakes here. 4 earthquakes. Okay? This is the 4.4 earthquake. 4.4 moderate earthquake there. That's Afghanistan. This is a 4.6 earthquake here. We go south. This is a 4.4 earthquake here in southern Afghanistan. Then we go south into Pakistan. Here's a 4.1 earthquake here in Pakistan. They show 2 earthquakes that are actually 4. Double it. Double it. Now, again, the Turkey-Syria border region. The Turkey-Syria border region here. 42 earthquakes here. 42 earthquakes as a result of a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that hit here February 3rd, 2023, nearly 3 years ago. Yes, we're seeing tremors 1.0 to 1.9. We're seeing minor earthquakes 2.0 to 2.9, 3.0 to 3.9 small quakes, and 4.1 to 4.4 earthquakes here in the Turkey-Syria border region. Moderate earthquakes. People live here. People live in this region. When that earthquake hit here back in 2023, nearly 3 years ago, it unalived over 5,000 people and injured over 5,000 more. We're still seeing earthquakes today that USGS doesn't want to take responsibility for. Still today, northern Turkey. This is a 1.1 here in northern Turkey. Let's move this map over so you can see what I'm talking about. 1.1 here in northern Turkey here. We go south. Look where that tectonic plate is. The edge of the fault. Edge of the fault. Just north of Ankara, Ankara, Turkey. We go to the southwest. Kishir, Turkey. Another 1.4 tremor. There are tremors, minor earthquakes, and small earthquakes throughout this region. All over. Even down here in southern Turkey, actually not southern Turkey, this is Cyprus. Cyprus Island here. They're not showing anything going on here. Down here on the southern side of the island, 2.8 earthquake. Let's go north. North side of the island. We have a 1.8, we have 1.6, and a 1.2 tremors. These are all tremors right here. Over here in the western Mediterranean, just north of Cyprus. This is another 1.6 tremor here. Tremors nobody feels. But don't you think we have the reason to know what's going on? I think we do, because where we have swarms of earthquakes, we usually have another large earthquake coming. Okay? Let's go over here in northwestern Turkey here. They're showing one earthquake here. A 4.4 moderate earthquake here, 14.7 miles deep. About 28 kilometers deep. They're not showing any other earthquakes here. Look at this. 100 plus earthquakes here. We just got through seeing a 5.6 earthquake here last week. They're not showing any other earthquakes here. What's wrong with this picture? Where we have swarms of earthquakes like this, we usually see another large earthquake incoming. We just got through having a large earthquake. We're going to see more large earthquakes here. When we have large earthquakes, people get killed. That's what happens here. USGS is not saying word one about it. Not word one about it. Over here on the island, just east of Turkey here, east and northeast of Turkey, this island right here. This island belongs to Greece. These islands are called the Dupage Islands. We have a 2.0 earthquake right there. 2.0 earthquake right there. South there, also in the Dupage Islands. Here's a 2.2 minor earthquake there. Goes further south here in the Aegean Sea. The Aegean Sea, again in the Dupage Islands. Here's a 3.0 small quake there. Earthquakes hitting here. USGS not showing one earthquake at all. Zero. Zero. Down here on the southwestern side of Crete, Greece. Here we have a 2.6 earthquake here. 2.6 earthquake here. Minor earthquake. Minor earthquake all day long. Why are they not showing earthquakes here in the Aegean Sea? Why? Inquiring minds want to know. Guys, what have we seen here in the Aegean Sea before? We've seen earthquakes all over this area. Last summer, last late spring, first part of the summer, right here, we started seeing 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, 4.5 moderate earthquakes hit all over this island. USGS first said, oh, it's only fault zone. They have two fault zones here under the ocean here in the Aegean Sea. Two fault zones. None of the earthquakes here were related to the fault zones, but USGS said it was. As it turns out to be, there is magma down here beneath the surface of the Aegean Sea. Magma running and hitting bedrock here in the Aegean Sea. Trying to erupt. Each one of these islands was made by volcanic action. Magma down beneath these islands, and one day these islands will again erupt with volcanoes. That was really the cause of all these earthquakes here in the Aegean Sea. But again, USGS wants to deny nothing's going on. That's what they do. Deny, deny, deny. They're not showing any earthquakes here in Greece. None. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 earthquakes here in Greece. 13 earthquakes here in Greece, all along the Ionian Sea here. All along the Ionian Sea here. Yes, most of these earthquakes are tremors. Tremors, guys. 1.8. 1.8 right there. I'm just going to read off the magnitudes here so you'll know what's going on. But also note, look where the earthquake fault is here. Look where the earthquake fault is here. Comes out of northern Turkey and goes over here to Greece. Okay, we have 1.6. We have 1.1, 1.1, 1.2, 0.8, 1.1, 1.6, and 1.2 at Patras. 1.2 near Patras, which was named after the Apostle Peter. Northern Turkey, 1.5. Over in Albania, to the northwest of Greece, Albania, 2.8, 2.8, 2.3, and 1.9. We have 2 minor earthquakes and a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake here. I call these 1.9, 2.0s because they get downgraded to the next possible 0.9. They get downgraded from large earthquakes to the nearest 0.9. That's why I go, if anything is a 0.9, it's probably a large earthquake. Probably a large earthquake. The other two were 2.6, 2.8. This may be a 2.0. Albania, guys. Albania. Let's go over to northern Albania here. Northern Albania right here. Okay? This is a 2.4 earthquake there. 2.4 earthquake right there. Minor earthquake. Minor earthquake. Now, as I told you about Crete, that fault zone comes over here from where? Over here, where we saw that 9.0, 10.0 earthquake near the Turkey-Syria border region, goes further south of Cyprus here. South of Cyprus through underneath the Mediterranean Sea here. Continues over here through the Mediterranean to the south part of Cyprus, or south part of Crete, Greece. Then it continues northwestern side of Greece. Continues here in the Ionian Sea here. Goes over here into Italy. Good old Italy here. Well, guess what? Guess what that means? More earthquakes. More earthquakes. Look what's happening here in Sicily. Sicily, guys. Sicily right there. Northeastern Sicily. We have a small congregation of earthquakes. Small congregation of earthquakes. Down here we have 5 earthquakes. Here's a 1.4 here. 5 earthquakes right there. Okay. 1.9, 2.0. 2.4. 2.1, 2.1, 1.9, 2.0, and another 1.1. Let's go over here to the north. To the north here. Right there. We have a 2.8. 2.8 minor earthquake there. Go over further to the west, another 2.1 earthquake there. And just south there, We have a 2.2 minor earthquake there. Minor earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes there. Sicily's having earthquakes. What's happening just offshore? Mount Etna and Stromboli volcanoes are both erupting. Mount Etna and Stromboli volcanoes are still erupting here. Ongoing eruptions here. Still moving. A great deal of movement. In Calabria, Italy. Calabria, Italy here. We have a 1.6 tremor here. Out in the ocean here. Out in the ocean. This is Eastern Mediterranean Sea. We have a 2.9 earthquake right there. 2.9 earthquake right there. What else is happening? North of Sicily, right there. This is a 2.4 earthquake right there. Again, USGS is not showing any of these earthquakes, not at all. As if nothing's going on. As if nothing's happening. We know darn well what's going on here. We know darn well what's going on here. Why do you think I'm coming over here near Naples? Near Naples. Vesuvius volcano is getting ready to erupt. As you can see, it's steaming. It is steaming. Today at Vesuvius volcano, we have a 1.8 tremor here. Supposedly a 1.8 tremor. We may be having more earthquakes than this, but they don't show it here on the European map. The volcano is moving. The volcano itself is moving. The magma is moving down in the magma channels of Vesuvius volcano. This entire area, guys, is populated. Populated. South of Vesuvius here is heavily populated. It's a huge urbanized area. South over here, huge urbanized area. Over here to the east, still a huge urbanized area, guys. On the north side of the volcano, it's still a huge urbanized area here. Over here to the northwest, huge urbanized area, even going over towards Naples. As I said before, this area is still hitting with earthquakes. The European agency is just showing one. The USGS is not showing anything. We know darn well there are other earthquakes, whether they be tremors or minor earthquakes, that are happening here at Vesuvius volcano. Vesuvius is getting to the point of recharging. We may see an eruption in the future here at Vesuvius volcano here in Italy. Again, USGS is not showing any earthquakes at all here in Italy. None. North central Italy, we have 20 earthquakes here. 20 earthquakes here. I'm only going to pick out a couple here, maybe 2 or 3. This is a 1.4 tremor. In the center of all these earthquakes here is a 0.8 microquake. To the north, Marsh, Italy, is 0.9, 1.0 tremor. One more here. This is a 1.4 tremor right here. Marsh, Italy. Where we see swarms of earthquakes, we usually see large earthquakes coming. We've seen that happen just about 2 weeks ago. Just 2 weeks ago, we had another 5.0 earthquake in the same region. as a result of ongoing swarm activity. That's what happens. That's what happens. Now today, northwestern Italy. We don't see any earthquakes in northeastern Italy at all. But northwestern Italy, we see earthquakes in the resort areas, south of the Alps Mountains. 1.5 and 2.1 earthquake here. 1.5 and 1.5 and 2.1 earthquake here. Minor earthquake. Over here to the southwest, France. We have a 2.0 earthquake right there. 2.0 earthquake here near Marseille, France. Closer to Marseille, France, we have a 2.1. 2.1. In the southern Alps, Italian Alps, 2.1 and a 1.7. 2.1 and a 1.7 tremor there. The southern Alps. USGS says nothing. USGS says nothing. Trentino, South Tyrol, Italy, in the Alps, 0.9 microquake. USGS not showing anything. Not a thing. They're not showing anything in Australia. I'm not saying Australia. Austria, Switzerland, Germany, or France. Nothing. Nothing. Guess what? Nothing in Switzerland, nothing in Germany, nothing in Austria. But over here in southwestern France, we have earthquakes. Earthquakes. Let's take a look at this. Okay. We have 2, 4, 5, or 6 earthquakes here. 6 earthquakes. Gorny, France, 2.3. Southwest of there is a 2.4. 2.0, 2.9 are minor earthquakes. Southwest of there, Les Flots, France. I know I'm butchering it. L-E, capital L-E, capital F-O-U-I-L-L-O-U-X. Flots, France. 2.1 earthquake there. We go north. La Chapelle, Saint Laurent, 2.1. 2.1. Right next to it. Right next to it, we have a 2.5 earthquake there. Let's go north. Brittany, France. We continue seeing earthquakes near Brittany, France, or on Brittany, France. Right here. Brittany, France. This is the 2.4 earthquake here. 2.4 minor earthquake. Again, USGS shows nothing. Not a thing. At the border region of France and Spain, 2 earthquakes there. A 1.8 and a 1.9 tremor there. 1.8, 1.9 tremor here at the border region of Spain and France. Southern Spain today. Earthquakes right here. In the Western Mediterranean Sea here, we have a 2.3 earthquake here. On land in Spain, we have 1.6, we have a 2.1, and a 1.5. 1.6, 1.5, and a 2.1 right there in Spain. Okay? One more earthquake over here at the Spain-Portugal area. Spain-Portugal region right here. Okay. Here we have a 1.8 tremor here. Out in the Azore Islands just off the coast. Out in the Azore Islands just off the coast here. Here we have a 2.8 earthquake here. 2.8 earthquake. There's more. 2.8 and another 2.3. 2.8, 2.3 here in the Azore Islands. Okay? Unreal. Let's go over to the Canary Islands here. Good old Canary Islands here. Let's take a look at Canary Islands. USGS says nothing. That's usually what we see from the Canary Islands here with the USGS. They show nothing. Not a thing. Let's go over here near Tenerife. Tenerife here. 3 earthquakes on Tenerife. Southern part of Tenerife here. We have a 2.1, a 1.9, and a 1.5. 2.1, 1.9, and a 1.5 here in the southern Tenerife Island. That's interesting. Over on the other island here. How many of us recognize this island? La Palma Island. Las Manchas. Las Manchas. Las Manchas right here. This is the spine of the island. This is the spine of the island. What's wrong with this picture? It's not showing an earthquake. This is just a minor tremor. A minor tremor. What happened here some 5 years ago? What happened here 5 years ago? Cumbre Vieja volcano opened up. The actual volcano is up here to the north. But down here to the south along the spine of the island, this area erupted. Huge eruption here. It lasted over a month. Over a month. We reported on this earthquake. We reported all over on this earthquake. Well, guess what? Right here, we have a 1.6 tremor here. 1.6 tremor here. Is it magma down here? It could be. It could very well be magma. It's down here in the magma area where we still have craters and cones here. Craters and cones from previous eruptions of the Cumbre Vieja volcano. We saw entire towns be destroyed by the lava that came out of that volcano. Could it happen again? Yes, it could. Are we expecting it? No, we're not. But when we have earthquakes here on La Palma Island, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Some 20,000 people live here on La Palma Island. 20,000 people live here on La Palma Island. Most of those people live here on the West Coast. Most people live here on the West Coast. But over here on the East Coast, there are some people living here. There are some people living here. When Aveyah volcano opened up before, we reported on it, heavily reported on it. I gave you reports here from scientists here that I interviewed. We interviewed scientists here on La Palma Island. We also interviewed the governor of Spain. The governor of Spain came here to La Palma Island, and we had the interview with the governor of Spain. We also had several people here that were living here on La Palma Island. We talked to them as well. That's what happens when you have contacts here. I still have contacts here in the Canary Islands. Let's go over here to the United States. Let's go over here to Canada. We have earthquakes here in Canada, southeastern Canada. Why is USGS not talking about it? Why is USGS not talking about it? Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. Over here, just south of the St. Lawrence Seaway, La Pocatière, Quebec, Canada, 0.94 microquake. 0.94 microquake here. West of there, 36 miles northwest of Maniwaki, Quebec, Canada. We have a 1.33 earthquake here. 1.33 minor earthquake. Tremor here. USGS says nothing about it. That's pretty much simpatico with USGS. They don't talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They're showing they're showing 4 earthquakes here in South America. 4 earthquakes here in South America. That's interesting. A brand new earthquake over here in central South America, Chile. 4.5 earthquake. 4.5 earthquake. That's interesting. This should be very interesting, guys. Why am I saying that? Why am I saying that? Because we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 earthquakes in this area. 14 earthquakes here in this area. They show us 1. 4.5 moderate earthquake there. Offshore, on the fault line. Offshore Biobío, Chile. 3.3 earthquake. North of there. This is a 2.9, 3.0. Going north of there, I'm going to go north to south, south to north, and show you these earthquakes. I'm going to go north or south to north here and show you these earthquakes here. Okay, then south to north. Valparaiso, Valparaiso, Chile. 2.8 earthquake. 2.8 earthquake. North of there. Coquimbo, Chile. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake right there. Going directly north. Just barely on the coastline. Lamare Sur Coquimbo. 3.4 earthquake there. 3.4 earthquake on the coastline. Going east, 2.6, 3.1. Excuse me. Further east, that's a 4.6 earthquake. 4.6 earthquake here in the in the western side of the Andes Mountains. The western side of the Andes Mountains here. Going further east, at the border of Chile and Argentina, in the tops of the Andes Mountains. This is a 3.2 earthquake here. 3.2 earthquake at the border region of Chile and Argentina near San Juan, Argentina. Okay, further west. This is a 3.4. That's a 3.4. Further to the east, in the Pampas, the farmland of Argentina. The farmland of Argentina here. Oro Grueso, Cordoba, Argentina. A 2.9 earthquake here. 2.9 earthquake just northeast of Cordoba, Argentina. In the Pampas of Argentina here. Okay, interesting. Interesting. To the north here, USGS is calling this a 4.2 earthquake. 4.2 earthquake, interesting. .5 to the northeast. Here they're calling this on the European map a 4.3 earthquake, not a 4.2. 4.3. Going north from here, almost directly north here. 3.0, 3.4, and 3.2. 3.4, 3. What was it? 3. There's a 3.0. 3.4 north of that is a 3.2 earthquake there. We're not done. Further to the west, again, USGS is not showing these earthquakes. 2.5. Going north. 3.8. Off the coast. Off the coast here. 2.9, 3.0. On the north side of the fault line. North side of the fault line here. On the south side, this is Atacama, Chile. South side is Atacama, Chile. To the north is Tarapacá, Chile. South to north, 2.8, 3.7. Northeast of there, a 2.8. Go to northwest, a 2.7 there. Let's go north and east. North and west, I should say. North and west. This is a 4.3 earthquake here. 4.3 earthquake there. Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's go here. The EMA, or not the EMA, the European agency called this a 4.2. USGS is calling this a 4.3. Further south there, they had a 4.2 that USGS said, and the Europeans called it a 4.3. Okay, I'll give it to them this time. But again, north of that earthquake, here's a 3.8 right next to it. And offshore, there are two more earthquakes here. Two more earthquakes here. A 2.7 and a 2.5. USGS is not saying a word one about those earthquakes at all. At all. Let's go to Peru. Southern Peru here. USGS says we have an earthquake. We do. A 4.2 earthquake here. The Europeans and the U.S. agency agree on this one. 4.2 earthquake here in southern Peru. Interesting to note. Interesting to note. What else do we have going here? What else do we have going here? Sabancaya volcano. Sabancaya volcano is active. Sabancaya volcano is active, guys. It has been erupting. That earthquake is about 50, 60 miles south of north of Sabancaya volcano. North of Sabancaya volcano here. Interesting to know. We don't have any other earthquakes here in Peru. But off the coast of Colombia, right here, Oceano Pacifica, 3.2 small earthquake right there. 3.2 small earthquake there. USGS shows no more earthquakes here. What is wrong with that idea? Northern Colombia, Santander, Colombia. 3.43 earthquake here. 3.43 small earthquake here near Santander, Colombia. They're not showing any earthquakes in Venezuela. What's wrong with that picture? What's wrong with that picture? Let me show you what's wrong with that picture. Here we have a 3.2 earthquake here. We go north. We have a 3.0 and a 2.8 earthquake there. 3.0 and a 2.8 earthquake right there. Further to the east, 3 more earthquakes. Here's a 3.1 earthquake there. To the north, a 2.5. To the east, a 2.4. Yes, guys, 5 earthquakes, but they're all minor earthquakes. Minor earthquakes. And a small in Santander, Colombia. USGS didn't say that, did they? They didn't show any of these earthquakes here. But they showed 4 earthquakes, 1 being in Peru, the other 3 in Chile. But they didn't mention that there were 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30 earthquakes here in central Chile. 30 earthquakes here in central Chile. 1 in Peru. 31 earthquakes. 31 earthquakes and 7 more up here between Colombia and Venezuela. 39 earthquakes in South America. And heaven forbid they show us just 4. They show us just 4. 2 earthquakes in Panama. 2 earthquakes in Panama, they don't show us any. A 3.0 earthquake right here. Panama. Just west of there. This is another 2.9, 3.0. Going over here into Costa Rica. Costa Rica. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 earthquakes. 16 earthquakes here in Costa Rica. Interesting. I'm going to talk about those from the south part near the Panamanian-Costa Rica border going north. Here, starting near, this is near Cartago province, Costa Rica. 2.7 earthquake there. South there is a 3.0. Let's go north along the coastline. Along the coastline here. 2.7, 2.8, 2.98, 2.08. Nagrota, Costa Rica. 4.5 moderate earthquake. 4.5 moderate earthquake. Just south there, 1.98, near the coast of Nicaragua. Going north, 2.99, off the coast of Nicaragua. 4.0, 4.0 moderate earthquake there. Interesting. El Salvador, 2.37. 2.37 off the coast. We have a 3.31, 2.94, 3.0. Again offshore, 3.42. USGS shows one earthquake here west of Managua, Nicaragua. 4.5 earthquake here. 4.5 earthquake. Okay. Then we don't go over into Guatemala at all, but we go over here to southern Mexico. Southern Mexico, I just love talking about this because USGS did not talk about it at all. They ignore southern Mexico. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 38 earthquakes between the southern part of Mexico here, all the way up here to Puerto Vallarta. All the way up here to Puerto Vallarta. 38 earthquakes. Why are they not showing these earthquakes? Why are they not showing these earthquakes? Over here, just north and east of Puerto Vallarta. 3.7 earthquake here. 3.7 earthquake here north of Puerto Vallarta here. Right there. All of the rest of these earthquakes near the coastline. Near the coastline here. 3.0 to 4.8 earthquakes. 3.0 to 4.8 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Off the coast of Puerto Vallarta. Off the coast of Puerto Vallarta. 45 miles west of Chihuahua, Mexico. We have a 3.3 earthquake there. Further off the coast, we have a 3.9 and a 4.0. 3.9 and a 4.0. Guess what? These earthquakes are on the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault, guys. Do you see why I have a problem with this, them not showing the earthquakes? The San Andreas Fault starts up here off the coast of Northern California. Off the coast of Northern California. Off the coast of Northern California on the Gorda Escarpment. We have a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. West of the Cascadia subduction zone, which is that earthquake fault running north. Here on the San Andreas Fault to the north. 2 earthquakes. 2.3 and a 2.0. 2.3 and 2.0 here. Interesting. Very interesting. Yet USGS doesn't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. Now, over here, Anderson, California. This is a 2.07 earthquake, minor earthquake. This is on the Mendocino Fault. The Mendocino Fault. Coming off the San Andreas Fault right here, going east is what they call the Mendocino Fault. Running over here through Northern California. Guys, the Mendocino Fault is connected to what? The Cascadia subduction zone. The Cascadia subduction zone. What happens here? What happens here, guys? When we have a Cascadia megathrust earthquake off the coast of where? Seattle, Tacoma, Washington. Off the coast on the Cascadia subduction zone and or the Juan de Fuca Fault. The Juan de Fuca Fault. That zigzag fault one that's further west from the Cascadia subduction zone. Somewhere in here off the coast of Seattle, Tacoma, Washington is where we're going to have a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. Today, off the coast of Oregon. Off the coast of Oregon here on the Cascadia subduction zone fault. 39 miles west of Dupage, I shouldn't say Depot, D-E-P-O-E, Oregon, we have a 2.2 minor earthquake on the Cascadia subduction zone. See right there. What happens when we have a major 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here? Cascadia megathrust earthquake, major earthquake. The seismic energy is going to run down the Cascadia subduction zone and the Juan de Fuca Fault, all the way down here to the south, connecting with the Gorda Escarpment and where? The San Andreas Fault. Back in 2019, December 23rd, 2019, our friend from the University of Oregon, Christopher Goldfinger, professor of geology at University of Oregon, he met with a bunch of seismologists down here in San Francisco. In that symposium, he said that the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake could trigger the San Andreas Fault, which means all that energy could go all the way down the San Andreas Fault into northern Mexico, devastating the communities of Imperial Valley, just east of San Diego, devastate San Diego as well, devastate all of Los Angeles, all the communities north of Los Angeles, including Pasadena, the Mojave Desert. The San Andreas Fault connects with what the Garlock Fault here, which could release energy on the Garlock Fault and come over here to Ridgecrest. Come over here, Ridgecrest and the Sierra Valley, and go inland here. 1.0 tremor here north of Ridgecrest. This is 1.2 earthquake here in Ridgecrest, California. 1.2 tremor. 1.0, 0.6, and 0.6 microquake there. Earthquakes, you guys. Little Lake, California. Cozo Junction. Cozo, the volcanic field there. So when the San Andreas goes, we might see earthquakes all over this area again. Just like we saw in 2019. July 3rd and 4th, 2019. 7.1, 8.0 earthquake here in Ridgecrest, California. Fact. But in this case, the San Andreas Fault is going to unleash on all over San Francisco Bay. The San Andreas Fault comes from Northern California all the way down here to San Francisco. It's on the southerly run here on the west side of San Francisco Bay here today. This is Pacific in California. 2 miles southeast of Pacific, California. Very well-to-do community here. They have a golf course here. This is a major golf course. We're going to see the first effects of the Cascadia earthquake here. This earthquake is going to trigger all the other faults in this area, including this earthquake up here to the north of San Francisco Bay. Green Valley, California, 1.4 tremor here today. Right here's 1.3 near Danville, California. My buddy Rob 52 you see as a moderator here on the channel. He's one of my best friends. His daughter lives here near Danville, California. Further south, Livermore, California. Livermore. This is right between the Hayward and the Calaveras Fault. All these faults will be activated when the Cascade earthquake hits and the seismic energy comes down here through the San Andreas Fault. Southeast of Monterey Bay, 1.4 tremor here on the Hayward Fault. Also on the San Andreas southeast of Monterey Bay here. The pinnacles here. Not only do we have the San Andreas Fault here, we also have oil and gas drilling going on as well. 1.4 tremor here. Down here on the Oceana Fault, San Simeon, California. 5 years ago, we had a 5.0 earthquake here in San Simeon. Today, we had a 1.0 tremor here. Further south here on the San Andreas Fault, we have an earthquake here at the earthquake capital of California and the earthquake capital of the world. Parkfield, California. 1.0 tremor here in Parkfield, California. Further south, you don't see many more earthquakes until we get down here south of the Garlock. Down here, this is on the separate fault from the San Andreas. Piru, California. 1.3 tremor here. USGS not showing hardly anything going on here in California at all. Nothing here in Los Angeles. Hardly anything going on here in Los Angeles. Wrong. Wrong. They can say nothing's going on. They can say all day nothing's going on here. Really? Now, guys, if I wanted to delve into, and I could pull up the seismograms from all over Los Angeles and show you dozens and dozens, hundreds of earthquakes here in Los Angeles. USGS is lying here through their teeth. They're only showing us one earthquake here. Yorba Linda, California, where former U.S. President Richard M. Nixon of California was born. Yorba Linda, California, 1.2 tremor here. West of Yorba Linda here, just south of Corona, Home Gardens, California, 1.5 tremor. North of there, Fontana. USGS is showing a 0.8 microquake here in Fontana. I'm here to tell you right now. Maybe tomorrow we'll talk about earthquakes here in Los Angeles, Southern California. USGS says this is 0.8 here in Fontana, California. I'm going to tell you this. There are 3.0 small quakes here in Fontana, California today. 3.0 earthquakes. There are minor earthquakes. There are tremors just like this in Fontana today. They want to try to tell us there's only one microquake here. What a joke. What a joke. Further south here, Grand Terrace, California. Grand Terrace, California. Northeast of Riverside. 1.5 tremor. There are all kinds of tremors. There are all kinds of minor 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes. There are small earthquakes here. 3.0, 3.5, at least. At least. And they're trying to say nothing's happening here. Nothing ever happens here. Interesting. But no cigar. They want to tell us about an earthquake right here. Big Bear City, California. 1.0 tremor. They have snow here in Big Bear. 1.0 tremor here in Big Bear, California. South of Big Bear, on the San Andreas Fault. Banning, California. 1.0 tremor. Banning, California, guys. This is very interesting because the San Andreas Fault is getting ready to pop. The San Andreas Fault right here is getting ready to pop. And pop to a 7.5, 8.0 earthquake here in Southern California. Right here in Southern California. And they have the audacity to only show us one tremor here. There's more than that. There's more than that. Over here, Beaumont, California. Just south of the San Andreas. 1.0 tremor here. Further south here, what is happening here in Indio, California? We are still seeing aftershocks. We're still seeing aftershocks from the supposed 5.1 earthquake that hit here. As I said before, that 5.1 earthquake was a lot stronger than they're saying it was. It was actually a 6.4 magnitude, very strong earthquake. 6.4 magnitude, very strong earthquake. Now we are still seeing aftershocks now. Swarms are continuing today. It's been over a week now. Down here, this is a 2.3 minor earthquake. This is a 1.7 tremor. This is a 1.8. Going north, 0.7 microquake. 1.8 tremor. Threat earthquake just happened. 1.0 tremor here. Further northeast, 1.1. We go north here, 1.3. We go further northeast here, 1.3. We have a bunch of tremors and a 2.3 earthquake here near Indio, California. Aftershocks of a 6.4 earthquake that they tried to pawn off as a 5.1. Again, USGS still does not want to tell the truth at all. At all. They're going to continue to lie until we have a major earthquake. Then people are going to go, what happened? Why were we not notified that this was going to happen? Why were we not shown earthquakes here before? Because they don't want anybody to know what's actually going to happen. I'm telling you right now, guys, get ready. Get ready, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. San Diego County right here. West northwest of Julian. In the mountains here of San Diego County. East County, San Diego. 0.7 microquake here. 1.7 tremor. 2 miles northwest of Julian, California. I just happen to love Julian, California. I've been in Julian many times. Many times. Back in September, actually the end of August, was apple festivals here in Julian. They pick apples here in Julian from August to October, November. Right now here in Julian, you could go get hot apple pie. Restaurants all over Julian here have hot apple pie, hot apple cider. You'll get sandwiches or soup here. Great place to be. There are knick-knack shops here. There are bed and breakfasts and small hotels here in Julian. Great place to be. They have snow here in Julian as well. The earthquakes here nonetheless. Fancy that. This East County, San Diego. Out here. This is the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, also in northeast San Diego County. This is a 0.8 microquake. Up here to the north, Temecula, just north of the San Diego County border. 1.0 tremor here. This, they say, is a 0.0 microquake. Or I mean surface quake. It's not. It's not. This is not a surface quake at all. This is 4.4 miles deep. They keep telling us that 0.0 quakes are surface quakes. They're not. This is at least a 1.0 tremor here under the surface, 4 miles down inside the Anza Gap, the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. Okay? Don't let USGS fool you. Don't let USGS continue to lie to you. When you see earthquakes here, it's a lot more than they're showing here. Out here to the east, also in the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, we have a 0.4 microquake and 1.4 tremor here. Down here further south, La Quinta, part of the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park area, 1.06 minor earthquake. 1.06 minor earthquake. We come down here into the Imperial Valley. Borrego Springs, also part of the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. That's not part of the Imperial Valley. It's part of San Diego County. Borrego Springs, 0.5 microquake. Down here is southwest of Salton City. Southwest of Salton City. This is a 1.0 tremor here. Salton City is right here on the northwest side of the Salton Sea. Salton City. Okay? This is a 1.0 tremor southwest of Salton City. There are earthquakes all over this area. They're not showing them. Why not? Because again, USGS doesn't want to show them. They don't want to show them. The simple reason is if they showed them, they'd have to admit they happened. Over 500 earthquakes a day hit here in the Imperial Valley. Over 500. Over 500. And yet they're only showing one. This earthquake here in Brawley, California. 1.4 tremor here. Southwest of Brawley, California. There's a lot more than that. You see El Centro here. You see Sealy, California here. We see 3.0 earthquakes all the time here in El Centro. Anywhere from 18 to 20 earthquakes hit here in El Centro. 18 to 20 3.0 large earthquakes hit here in El Centro every day. Every day. And yet USGS would have us believe nothing happens. Way too crazy. Way too crazy, guys. There is a lot more going on than that. I promise you there's a lot more going on than that. They would have us believe nothing's happening. Westmoreland, California. They had a seismograph that was working until about June this last year. They shut it down. Somewhere between 50 to 60 earthquakes happen here in Westmoreland every day. Every day. Yet they don't want us to know what's happening. Calipatria here. Calipatria. Anywhere between 75 to 150 earthquakes happen here in Calipatria every day. USGS says nothing about it. Not a thing. Not a thing. It's a sad day. It's a very sad day. Here in Holdville. Good old Holdville, guys. Actually, let's go over here to the town of Imperial first. There's a seismograph here in the town of Imperial. We get 3.0 earthquakes here all the time in the town of Imperial. Go over here to Holdville. Holdville is home to the Salton Sea Desert Research Station. Holdville all the time has earthquakes here. In the Holdville Museum here, the Salton Sea Desert Research Station, they have a seismograph. All the time we have minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9. We have tremors, 1.0, 1.9. All kinds of microquakes here as well that they don't want to admit happens. Because if they admitted it, they'd have to say there's a problem here. They don't want to admit to that at all. Not now, not ever. Back in 2010, along the border region of the United States and Mexico, just south of the border. South of the border, there's a place called Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico, province of Mexico. There was what they said at the time was a 7.1 earthquake. 7.1 earthquake. They now say it was probably over an 8.1. Over an 8.1. All kinds of damage here in Mexico. All kinds of damage here in Mexicali. To the north of Mexicali is Calexico. All kinds of damage here in Calexico as well. All over this area, they felt this earthquake all the way over to Phoenix to Tucson, Arizona. This earthquake was felt all the way over in San Diego County as well. All the way over here in San Diego County as well. At the time, I was here in San Diego County, in the city of San Diego, at their emergency operations center right here. Right here, just north of Barrio Logan, right here. When that earthquake hit, I ran outside. I was right next to the door. I ran outside. When I was outside, I saw plate glass windows falling out of skyscrapers. Those skyscrapers were vibrating. They were swaying in the breeze. That's what happens when you have a 7.1 earthquake in Imperial Valley. Yeah. San Diego County had minor damage. Plate glass windows fell out of skyscrapers all over downtown area. Some other windows broke all over San Diego County. Fortunately, no water mains or gas mains were bothered by it, but over in the Imperial Valley it was. That 7.1, 8.0 earthquake was felt all the way up into Los Angeles, all the way north in Los Angeles, guys. Incredible. Now, as I said before, the San Andreas Fault is locked and loaded. It is literally when it's going to happen. It's literally when it's going to happen. It's going to happen very soon. It's going to activate all the other earthquake faults all over Los Angeles County. It's going to activate all the faults all over Los Angeles, all over San Diego County as well, all the way down into the Imperial Valley. Fact. You can take that to the bank. Now, just like most people were not prepared for this storm this past weekend, most people were not prepared for that storm. Why not? Why not? It's going to happen again. It is going to happen again, guys. It's going to happen again. Yesterday over here in Maine, Bangor, Maine, we lost a commuter plane. Let's talk about this.
A Challenger 600 crashed on takeoff from the Bangor International Airport on Sunday evening, January 25th, 2026. Let's find out what we know at this point, which is about 14 hours after the crash. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, and here in Texas, we are shut down. You can't make it to the studio. Our roads are ice skating rinks. In the midst of this record-breaking winter storm sweeping across the U.S., a Challenger private jet has crashed on takeoff from the Bangor International Airport. This winter storm has resulted in over 12,000 commercial flight cancellations, a record amount over the previous couple of days. The private jet had earlier flown that same day from Houston and landed at Bangor. At approximately 7:45 p.m. local time on January 25th, the plane flipped on takeoff and caught fire upside down. First responders were on site in under 1 minute.
You will want to throw your metformin away after testing this natural trick.
7:45 p.m. last night, there was an accident involving a single GA aircraft that was departing from Bangor International Airport. The aircraft was a Bombardier CL-600. Our emergency protocols were immediately activated, and first responders were on scene in under a minute. In addition to the Maine Air National Guard initial response with their fire and rescue vehicles, the Bangor Fire Department and approximately 10 other municipalities responded to the scene.
CNN is reporting that ATC chatter with a Breeze airliner that had just landed and an Allegiant jet returning to the gate due to low visibility at the time. Now, the Breeze Airbus A220 had just landed right before the Challenger lined up to take off and had come from Orlando.
52 Bangor, tower wind 050 at 8, runway 33, clear to land.
For land 33. We're good. Weather update.
Affirmative. New information that I had just put out about 9 minutes ago. Visibility is 3/4, light snow, indefinite ceiling 1,200, And altimeter is 3039er, temperature -16, dew point -19er, and 33 RVR better than or more than 6,000.
Roger, thanks so much for that.
The airport was open, although weather was pretty bad at the time. Winds were 0507 knots, 3/4 statute mile visibility, vertical visibility of 1,100 feet, snow, and the temperature was 1 degree Fahrenheit. And as you can see from the pictures from the airport cameras, at the time, visibility was extremely poor. The airport had crews working to keep the runway clear, and they had de-icing operations ongoing. Also unconfirmed was that the plane was flying from Houston to Paris, France, and had stopped at Bangor for fuel. According to Flight Radar 24, the plane had landed Bangor at 6:43 p.m., an hour before the crash. It's being reported by the local news outlets in Maine that there were 8 people on board. There are 3 crew and 5 passengers. The jet is registered to a law firm in Houston and was manufactured in 2020.
Aircraft upside down. We have a passenger aircraft upside down.
Crash.
All right, authorities have not yet confirmed that all 8 people have perished. Questioned at the briefing, the airport spokesperson felt that confirming that information might impede the investigation.
Why can't you just say whether or not there were any fatalities? How's that going to impede any investigation that may or may not be coming?
We're waiting for guidance and support from the federal partners before we can make any additional statements to not interfere with their investigations, as they're the leaders of what the next steps look like.
Was anybody transported to the hospital from the crash scene?
I'm not ready to share additional information on that.
Aviation Safety Network is reporting the FAA is saying 7 fatalities and the 8th, a pilot, is in serious condition. We haven't confirmed that.
Why was the plane allowed to take off in the first place given the storm?
The airport remained open. There were planes landing and departing around that time, and we had crews on site responding to the ongoing storm that we had at that time.
All right, I want to address this question you just heard from the press concerning why planes were allowed to take off from Bangor. First, airports are either open or they're closed. There's very specific conditions that have to be met for the airport to close. And if they can keep the runways operating, then the airport remains open. It's up to the individual pilots whether they take off or land. When it's a company, there are company minimums that are in place for the aircraft, like Allegiant might have rules as far as visibility and weather conditions. The pilots make the call whether or not to operate. And when the crash occurred, the airport did indeed close, but that's pretty standard procedure when a crash happens. They're keeping the airport closed as of Monday. The NTSB and FAA arrive on the scene on this Monday, January 26th. The plane had reportedly been serviced by the airport's de-icing crew, with the pilots requesting Type 1 and Type 4 de-ice and anti-icing fluid application. Now, Type 1 is used to remove snow and ice that's already there. Type 4 is used to prevent a buildup or snow and ice adhering to the plane surfaces. All of this is standard operations in these conditions. Then, after getting the de-icing and anti-icing, the Challenger taxied to runway 33 for departure. Runway 33 is 11,440 feet, a very long runway, and the airport serves as a stop often for transatlantic flights. On takeoff, a witness reported that the airplane shuddered and rolled upside down. A post-crash fire ensued. The Bombardier Challenger 600 is a twin-engine business jet, a little wider cabin than some of the others in its class. The accident airplane was the 650 variant, which was introduced about 10 years ago and has a redesigned interior and upgraded avionics. These jets can sell for north of $30 million. It's a 2-pilot aircraft. When the reports talk about a 3rd crew member, it could have been a spare pilot for a transatlantic flight, or it could have been a flight attendant. Again, we don't know at this point. The investigation will be looking at a number of factors, like the landing of the Airbus A220 moments before the takeoff. Did wake turbulence play a factor in the takeoff of the Challenger? And how much was weather a factor in the crash? The wind was 050 at 7 knots, and while it's a crosswind, it's not a big one. There were no gusts that were being reported. They'll look at the de-icing station and the fluids that were used. Also, the investigation will look at the aircraft's maintenance logs and any recent work done. There's been some rumors about that. It's incredibly unusual for a jet to just flip over on takeoff. They'll want to get to the bottom of what happened to make sure it doesn't happen again. That's our report on this horrible Challenger crash. When we get updates, we'll make some more videos. Thanks for watching.
Okay, that's about the crash yesterday evening. But what's going on with the weather now? I'm going to tell you. There's a cold front coming through the United States from central United States on over to the East Coast. Very cold temperatures. Very cold, even colder than we saw this weekend. A lot colder. But there's also something else going on. There's something else going on. What? What's happening? What's happening? I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm sorry, that's not it. There's a large storm incoming. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that storm coming out of Canada, going all the way down through northeastern Montana, northwestern and southeastern North Dakota, going over through northeastern South Dakota, Nebraska, going all the way down through Minnesota, south there into Michigan, over into Wisconsin, all the way down into Missouri as well, all the way down here into the Mid-Atlantic region, up and down the entire eastern coast of North America, including Canada. This will be incoming by probably Wednesday this week. Incoming through Wednesday this week. See this purple area? This is where we're going to have snow, massive amounts of snow. This storm is going to drop anywhere from 12 to 2 feet of snow. 12 to 24 inches of snow between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this weekend. 2 feet of snow. To include North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Kentucky. We're going to see massive amounts of snow. Look at this map here. See where it stalls out here in North Carolina? This storm is going to drop massive amounts of snow, and we're going to see cold temperatures continuing through the end of the week into next week. Upwards of 2 feet of snow here, guys. 2 feet of snow. Now, Alan Newton said just a few minutes ago here in the chat, people don't prepare because they have a normalcy bias. Conditions normal. Conditions normal. Well, guess what? Conditions are not normal. I've been asking people to prepare for winter storms for some time now. Right now, we're in the center of the winter storm season. We're in the center of the winter storm season. Between now and the end of April, we're going to see snow, winter snow conditions, temperatures in the Fahrenheit conditions from the 20s and 30s on down to below zero temperatures. Very decent temperatures, very dangerous temperatures, and wind and blowing snow blizzard conditions as well. Guys, we need to prepare and prepare now. Okay? We need to prepare and we need to prepare now. Otherwise, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We're still going to see a run on the stores. Friday and Saturday this past weekend, we saw the store shelves cleaned out. Cleaned out. Dairy cleaned out. Eggs cleaned out. Water cleaned out. Paper products cleaned out. Meat sections cleaned out. Get your supplies now. Go to the store now this week before this next storm comes in. Get it now. Otherwise, you're not going to have the time or the ability to do it. The store shelves are going to close. They're going to close, guys. Get ready. I'll have more information about this storm as we get closer to it. Okay? Be safe, guys. Be safe. Now, in closing here, we talk a lot about nonsense. We talk a lot about dark subjects. We talk about death and injuries as well. At the end of our program, we want to be more positive. Today, I'm going into the second chapter of Philippians in the New Testament. Going into the second chapter, first verse. If therefore be any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Being of one accord and of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind. Let each esteem of her better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. Now I'm going over to the first chapter of Philippians. First chapter of Philippians, verses 3, 4, and 5. These three scripture verses pertain to each one of you from me. You may want to mark these verses yourself. I'm sending these verses to you. I thank my God upon every remembrance of you. I thank my God upon every remembrance of you. Always in every prayer of mine for you, all making requests with joy for your fellowship in the gospel from the first day until now. May God bless you in all your efforts. May God bless you in protecting yourselves and your family. Get prepared, guys. Get prepared. If anything happens tonight or tomorrow, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it tonight or in the morning as soon as the information becomes available. That's what we do here. We've been known to come on the air in the middle of the night or the middle of the morning, early mornings as well. We always do. I thank everyone who's participated in the chat. I want to thank all of our moderators. All of our moderators here. Each and every one of them are awesome people. They are God's people. They really are. I want to thank each and every one of our EMA family members that's here as well. Alan Newton, Linda Covington, Renee Seppi, Kenzo's here. All of you that are here, I want to thank you for being here. May God bless you. May God take care of you, putting his arm around you, holding you in the palms of his hand. May God bless you and be with you this day and night. I wish nothing but the grace of God's glory upon you. Those of you who are sick and afflicted, may God bless you. and lift you up and honor you. God bless your families and those that love you. I pray that that happens for each one of us. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Have a good night, everybody. Much love. See you soon. Good night.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright. We're always learning, always striving to be better, bring you the most up-to-date information, no matter the weather. Emergency Management Associates is here for you now and forever, it's true. Keep watching, keep learning, because we truly appreciate all that you do. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We love you. Have a good night.